Hello everyone, welcome to the another Tissnet podcast for the year 2022. So 2022 result has been out and many people got selected. Today we have Syed Amber from Maharashtra, Mumbai itself, and he got selected for Hyderabad campus, public policy and governance and दो course के लिए. Second is nothing but social work in rural development and governance. ये दो program के लिए he got selected. First of all, Amber, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So when you saw your result, how was the experience? What was the feeling basically?
So the result was announced a day before the on the 21st of June,
Okay.
and it was expected something around in 7 in the evening on the 22nd of June.
Mhm.
So the result came actually 1 hour earlier. So when I saw it, it was an great feeling. I was feeling ecstatic.
It was expected.
Yes, sir, indeed. My OPI went really good, so I was expecting this one.
Okay. So just brief me about yourself so that viewer should know about your background and how you, then later on we'll talk about your preparation part.
Sure, sir. As you said, my name is Amber Syed, and I live in Mumbai, Maharashtra itself. And I had completed my graduation in 2018 in financial markets. Later on, I started to prepare for UPSC. Apart from that, I also pursued my master's in sociology.
Okay.
So that was my educational background. And I had a unique interest in reading books. These book, I have read several books. Like sociology was my topic. So Ramchandra Guha's book, on books from Daniel Ziblatt or Stephen Levitsky, Abhijit Banerjee, Esther Duflo. And I was following newspapers for almost 4 years. So I was well aware about what's happening all around. And my motivation for TISS was the program itself. After pursuing several such programs which were related to sociology and public, I went for it for the public policy and governance program. I had seen the syllabus. So yes, it convinced me to go for it.
Okay. As you mentioned that you already have prepared for the UPSC examination, right? So I
Yes,
think
sir.
GK was not it was not be a big deal for you in terms of the preparation GK, because UPSC hardcore GK you prepare, right?
Yes, sir, certainly. And in past, I had cleared CDS examination also Indian Postal Service exam, the round 1, and I'd also given CET for MBA. So yes, I was well aware about things.
So you appeared for the CET. I think quant logic English will not be a problem. Then GK UPSC you have prepared. Then everything you must have covered, right? जो भी TISS में आता है, everything was covered by you through the other entrance examination.
Yes, sir, the only problem was maths, and I had taken decision just I guess 6 months before the Tissnet examination. So I thought rather to concentrate on English, GK, and reasoning rather than venturing out into all a new territory of venturing into maths. So yes, I concentrated on these subjects more.
Okay. So when you mentioned that you have joined us for the online live class preparation, then OPI preparation was there. So in which month you have started your preparation?
So I started to prepare from September, October itself, 2021.
And prior to this, you have already prepared for the UPSC and MBA CT.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was preparing for it, and later on I joined Manoeuvre also for guidance, and I qualified Tissnet. Later on, I joined OPI program too, and
okay. And finally got selected.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So throughout your preparation, if I talk about section by section, quant, logic is there, and DI combined together 30 marks, English 30 marks, then GK, current affairs and static 40 marks. So out of these 3 sections, which section you were much more comfortable in terms of the score, and which section you were not comfortable, and what you have done for it?
So I was pretty much confident about GK, though there was a sectional cutoff too. So I knew that it is much more important, because if we don't qualify the sectional cutoff, it ultimately leads us to completely it nullifies our performance. So GK was my forte, and later on I went for English. The only problem over here was math. Though I was practicing it, but somehow I was not thorough with it. So I used to prepare, I used to solve some problems, etc. I used to watch Manoeuvre videos also related to it. So Yes, by that method, I looked at maths and all other things. I had the notes from Maneuver, and I have also prepared from other sources, from like several PDFs that we get. So I was doing this way. Also for English, I was preparing from seeing the PDF questions, etc., solving.
Okay. So during your preparation, have you felt like, okay, abhi give up kar dete hain, back down moment, any kind of such moment came?
Uh, no, so not completely. I would say, like one has to think positively over here. There are times of minor times of demotivation, but you have to cope up with it and perform nicely.
Okay. What was your motivation?
So I wanted to first, I wanted to be a TCN, and I was not back then. That motivation itself was enough for me to give my best.
Have you appeared for the mock test also?
Yes, sir.
How many mock tests you had appeared, and what was the highest score if you remember?
I had appeared for Tissnet. I had appeared for, as far as I remember, 4 mock tests.
Only
And
4 mock.
generally, I avoided mock tests because it often demotivates you. But when the exam got closer, I knew that I have to do this. And mostly my score was between 50 to 66, 67. So that was it.
So if you compare the mock test which you have written, maneuver mock test, and when you have written the real exam, what differences you have realized, and what you have learned from the actual examination, and if you compare it from the mock test?
So what we often expect is that the paper would be extremely tough or hard, and at the same time, mocks we look at mocks, our performance, and that demotivates us. But if we actually give mocks, we attempt mocks with all our efforts. We completely cover up the syllabus that is being provided to you. Us after that, I think so that exam becomes quite easier. And what happens in the exam hall, that you see several people all around you, that also creates a kind of frustration within us. Complexes develop, but anyhow, we have to keep ourselves calm, and the only manner to do it is we have to give our best while studying and giving mocks. That's it.
Okay, great. So after your stage one, clearance of the stage one, then how you have prepared yourself for the stage two, OPI? Apart from the session happen, mock interview happen at Maneuver, what else you had prepared for the stage two?
So the most important thing over here is that whatever subject you choose, you must know about it, and you have to go through the TISS syllabus of that particular subject. If you don't know about the subject itself and its syllabus, then it is quite sure that you won't be able to cope up with it. As for me, I'm reading newspapers for almost more than over 4 years almost. So I was well connected with the current affairs and etc. The things I used to read editorials by academicians and etc. So that was a big part. And I used to like looking at public policy and governance syllabus. There are several subjects which are related to economics, sociology, etc. So I used to read books related to it, as I said, by Abhijit Banerjee and several others. So that like gave me a wider picture of the subjects, the policy, etc. Yes, also preparation for UPSC, it gives you a kind of a great exposure. So that was it.
Okay. So what was your extempore topic in the actual extempore uh, exam?
So for public policy and governance, right?
Yep.
Uh, it was DBT, direct benefit transfer.
Okay. So they gave you the time also to think about the topic, right?
Yes, sir.
How much time they gave you?
They gave nearly a minute,
A minute
60
time.
seconds.
Okay. And so you were confident enough about this topic?
Yes, sir. I was really certain. In fact, I went on for 3 minutes. They themselves have to stop me.
Okay. And how was your interview experience? If you compare your actual interview with the maneuver mock interview, what was the differences you have realized and how much it helped you?
At Maneuver, as I saw that the bio sketch that we had provided, all major questions came nearly from a bio sketch itself. But during the actual interview, I was asked more about the current affairs, and the things like I had mentioned in my bio sketch that I am fond of books related to geopolitics. So they asked me about some geopolitical events, what's happening in Sri Lanka, what's the way out of it, and they asked me about some writers. I told them about that thing.
From your tab only they have asked the question, right?
Yes, sir. Detailed application.
Okay. So how many panelists were there?
So there were three.
Three. Okay.
Yes.
So all were bombarding, or someone who were just observing, and one two only asking the question. How was the ambience basically? How was the interview experience? If you want to explain in one or two lines.
So being honest, I was a little frightened with like how it would go. But as the interview started, they made us really comfortable, and the ambience was really positive. Talking about my experience, it was really positive, and later on the interview went really well, very smooth.
Okay, great. So if you want to give tips to all the upcoming year aspirants, those who are preparing for 2023-24, what tips you will give them? This is the general question I ask from everyone. So what, according to you, what tips you will give?
So certainly, if we divide the examination in two stages, the first one is Tissnet, which is, as we see, really factual and a limited syllabus that we have. So you have to target it in that particular manner. GK is a must. You must read newspapers daily, editorials, opinions, and apart from that, whatever subject you choose, you must have certain kind of information about it. As far as TISS is concerned, one must know the syllabus and the relevant information which you must know regarding that particular syllabus. And if someone is opting for, let's say, public health or social work or any other subject or HRMLR, they must have good knowledge about that thing. They must read about the scholars who have written books on these things. I think so that would help in the second part of it, and also would help you cope up when you actually become a TCM. So this is a must. You should target every exam according to its like length and breadth, whatever it is.
Okay. So if I summarize entire podcast, you started your preparation, I think September onwards. Before that, you prepared for the UPSC and MPSC that help you in your Tissnet. But ideally, one should start early preparation. That is what I all time recommend. Second, your
Yes,
OPI was well, and you had prepared very well for the extemper and the OPI stage 2. Basically, you have studied very well for the Tissnet. What is Tissnet exam? Basically, what it demands. So that preparation was there. And the rest of the thing you have, like GK was not a problem because you had prepared for the UPSC. So English was okay, only the maths was a problem, and you have cope up with that as well. And finally you have made this, like finally you got selected in the TISS campus.
Yes.
So yeah, that's all guys. So kindly keep watching all these kind of a podcast and implement in your preparation. Those who are watching this podcast and targeting for the same courses, Hyderabad या जो भी campus आप target कर रहे हो, do prepare very well, because stage 1, if you will not clear, then obviously stage 2 is not possible. And as Amber mentioned, you have to clear the sectional cutoff for the GK. If that is not clear, then anyway you will be out. Overall cutoff kitna bhi score kitna acha hai doesn't matter, but sectional cutoff, which is nothing but 14 marks for the general, and category wise it varies. So kindly check the website. So that's all. Thank you, Amber, coming and sharing your experience with regards to your preparation and interview, so that your experience will help to the other aspirant, those who really want to get into the TISS campuses. So once again, congratulations for your career and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your guidance.